In a card like UFC Vegas 19, where we saw 4 fighters miss weight, one guy miss weight by 2 weight classes, a little featherweight action. We're just looking for 146 pounds, Blake. And you tipped the scales at 157 and a half. Uh, it's not a good look. Not a good look, but that didn't matter. None of those really put a hindrance on this cards because, the prelims, we started with 5 straight knockouts on the prelims. And then big day for rising stars and for the heavyweight division. A heavyweight division that's only getting better by each card. But Blake, we're here to talk about UFC Vegas 19. We're here to talk about some Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal news. And we're here to take a look ahead at this week's now UFC Vegas 20 card. And so, my friend, how you feeling tonight?
Feeling good, ready to talk about these fights over the weekend. Definitely a knockout-filled card.
Oh, yeah. And I think we should just get rolling into it. While this wasn't a knockout itself, it was certainly a finish up because we had Rising Star, formerly unranked. The new rankings haven't come out yet at the time of recording, but we can assume he might be able to get maybe into the top 15. More than likely, he's going to be right outside of it still. But you never really know with that. But Tom Aspinall versus Andre Orlowski, a former legend in his own right, a guy that deserves a tremendous amount of respect, a guy that's on a 2-fight winning streak going into this one as well. But the veteran, it makes a mistake in the second round. He tries to get up, and as he's trying to get up after a takedown, he gives up his back, puts in a quick rear naked choke that Aspinall did, and Andre Orlowski with a quick tap because he knew it was over. Great fight, though. Fantastic showing by Tom Aspinall, especially when he almost had the fight won in the first round, where he put out like a flurry of 20 shots landed against the cage. It was insane. I was shocked that the fight didn't end right there.
Yeah, I think you said Olenek, but we're talking about
Orlowski.
Arlovsky.
Yeah, I said Orlowski. You're thinking Olenek.
I don't know,
You're
bro.
tripping. Well, we'll go back to the film. I said Andre Orlowski.
Arlovsky.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Trust me.
Yeah, I mean he's just not what he used to be. But credit to Aspinall, he got him out of there. He got him choked out. And easy night, another win bonus, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yep. So that's 3 in a row. I mean, shoot. That's pretty much perfect start to the career, really. Three wins, 3 win bonuses. You can't really do better than that.
No, I don't really think so. Yeah, like I said, Tom Aspinall, another one. And now we kind of have to look at, always got to ask what's next. And to be honest, so first I wanted to kind of talk about that. Recently, Andrey Alarsky has taken a kind of a unique role where he's almost like a gatekeeper to the new blood in the division. Where because last year he had fights against Tanner Boser and Phillip Linz, 2 guys that I believe have a good future ahead of them in this heavyweight division, and now he's fighting Tom Aspinall. Do you think this is kind of his role that he's going to be settled into, or like up until retirement? Is this just kind of what Andre is going to be doing for the UFC?
I think if he wants to continue having a job, yeah. I think he just doesn't really have too much of a choice. It's he's not going to get those top high level fights anymore unless he starts beating guys like Tom Aspinall. So yeah, it's kind of what he's been, I guess, relegated to now at this point in his career.
Is it the worst thing though? Do you like him in this situation?
I mean, if he likes fighting and he doesn't mind being the nail rather than the hammer, then yeah, sure. I mean, that's fine for him, but it kind of just depends where he's at in his career, what he wants to do in his career. If he's just fighting to have fun at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, just literally his job, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if he starts taking some really big butt kickings like he kind of did in that first round,
Mm-hmm.
might want to think about hanging it up.
Move it to Bellator.
Or just hanging it up, man. He's got enough fights, honestly.
Yeah.
Don't know what his financial situation is like, but I mean, I can't imagine it's too bad.
No, I mean with a record like 30-20 with 50 professional fights, I feel like you should have a little bit in the bank at least a little bit from there. And honestly, I think it's a solid litmus test. Now, of course, Andrey Alarsky, he's not the guy that he used to be. Of course, he's not. You remember, he's no prime pitbull, because that prime pitbull was a scary monster, but he's still a solid competitor, and it's a good litmus test for these new guys to see if they're kind of legit. Get past his first big test in their career. So I'm okay with it. It's a cool measuring stick that the UFC has, really. And then in terms for Aspinall, what's next for him? Because I think he is deserving of a fight within that top 15, especially if he's not going to be in it after these new rankings come out, which I don't think it will. But a top 15 fight should be next for him, huh?
Yeah, I think it's time to see a step up in competition. Definitely a guy that has a number next to his name. That would be really cool for him. Hopefully, I don't think it's time for him to fight another guy that fought on this card, Dacas. I don't think it's time for them to fight yet. I'd like to continue to see them get built up. I hate seeing guys that are both kind of rising stars go at each other. I'd rather let them kind of see where they're at first, and then if they keep going on their tear, they're destined to match up. So I'd like to see them get maybe another veteran fight in there, see what they're made out of, see if they can get their win streak increased to one more, and then maybe let them go at it.
Gotcha. But
then they'll both have numbers next to the name,
yeah,
and it'll have even more, I guess, momentum.
Yeah. Well, because it was Aspinall that kind of put it out there that he would like to fight the winner between Olnick and Dacas, and from his standpoint, I thought that was a great call out. Especially if I knew it wasn't going to happen, but especially if Olnick won, then that'd be a even better call out. You could argue, but no, I'm siding with you. I don't want to see one of these guys lose yet in the UFC. Because if you're the UFC, you kind of want these guys to be successful, right? You kind of want them to have a hot start to the career and really make them into stars. Because I mean, you're in the UFC, your business is making money, and how you make money? You make money with stars.
And well, I think they're getting to the. Sorry to cut you off. I think they're getting to the area now where there's still options. It's not like the top.
They don't have to fight each other yet.
Right, like they're getting to just the scratching the surface now, where they can fight like maybe did Mark Hunt retire yet?
I think.
I can't remember if he did or didn't.
He's also having that giant legal battle with the UFC, so I don't think he's ever really going to do anything for them.
For sure, another guy from that realm of the earth, Bambam Tuivasa, Stefan Struve, or no, he's out of the UFC. He's
retired now.
Who am I thinking of? Volkov.
Volkov is a little up there.
He's a little up there.
Maybe one of these. If JDS, I know he's on the 4-fight losing streak, right? But
he might be out of the UFC. Who knows?
I don't need no news for him yet. Nikolai Ivanov, Sergey Pavlovich, and then also Marcin Tybura, a guy that's also recently broken onto the scene.
Sergey, he was on the prelims.
Yeah,
and he got a TKO, right?
Sergey got himself a nice little TKO right there.
Yeah.
So, Sergey Spivak got the TKO, and then that was over Jared Vanderaa. So different. You're thinking different, Sergey.
Greg Hardy. There's another guy.
Tom Aspinall versus Greg Hardy.
What if you put Dacas or Dacas or Aspinall up against Hardy?
We'll get to Chris in a second. I think Dacas is clearly above a Greg Hardy at this point, but Aspinall and Hardy. Blake, you might have just walked into some money with that one right there. Because
number 15 is Tybura. Like that's the lowest ranked guy.
Yeah.
So. And that's just not really that doesn't get me excited,
I can mess with that.
I like Aspinall versus Hardy though. That sounds pretty enticing.
Oh, that's good to me, Blake.
I think Aspinall, that's easy money. I have to be a douchebag, but that's kind of easy money for Aspinall.
Hey, let's roll with that. Tom Aspinall versus Greg Hardy. Let's book that one. Now, the next fight, he's not a heavyweight, but he is an up-and-comer in the middleweight division. That's Phillip Pause, and he took down Nasruddin Imavov, and he just used some really, really strong wrestling to outlast Imavov, because he was rocked 2 or 3 times, especially late in that third round. I really thought he was about to get knocked down that third round and have one hell of a comeback. But he was able to land 4 of 7 takedowns, which is pretty solid. There were also some solid throws, too. They weren't just like some double legs and stuff. He got some slams in that sumbitch, too. He moves to 10-2. And, hey, Blake, I don't know if you know this, but this UFC middleweight division is in really good hands right now. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
damn,
this guy's still got a ways to go before he can really even scratch the surface. I think really the top 15. But yeah, I mean, the middleweight division is definitely one of the more competitive divisions right now. I'd say welterweight, lightweight, bantamweight, middleweight's getting really competitive. Too bad Izzy freaking left.
Is there a bad division in the UFC right now?
It's gotten a lot better. I remember a couple years ago it was getting a little stale.
Well, the heavyweight especially.
125, heavyweight, even light heavyweight for a while has been, basically DC, Rumble, and John Jones.
Well, for a while, it was just John Jones. Too. It was John Jones having to fight someone due to contract obligations, essentially. There wasn't an actual challenger to his belt for a while.
Basically, the Valentina and Amanda Nunes situation right now. I'd say those are really the two most boring divisions right now are, three actually, technically. 125, 135, 145 for women's. Everything in the men's division, I feel like it's pretty clear except for 155. And once that is kind of, the water, clears in that one, I think that's going to be a very exciting division as well. So
I am looking forward to, and then also just these middleweight fights coming up too. It's going to be fan-freaking-tastic if you're a fan of this division. Now, the next fight, let's finally get into it. Chris Dacas versus taking down the number 10 ranked Alarsky Olenek, earning himself a performance of the night bonus in this one as well. And now, he makes that 3 UFC fights, 3 first-round finishes. Of course, his UFC debut came against Parker Porter and knocked him out 4:30 into the first round. They went on to knock out Rodrigo Ferreira in 45 seconds into the first round. Now, Alarsky Olenek goes down just about 2 minutes into the first round. And I've been trying to say, ever since he busted onto the scene, Blake, ever since he had the fight against Parker Porter last summer, I knew that this guy was going to be good because the size and just that hand speed. That hand speed is something else at that heavyweight division. And he just keeps proving all of his supporters right. Chris Dacas, I mean, he was talking before the fight how he doesn't want to, he's a Philadelphia cop part-time. He says he's trying to be able to move into MMA full-time. I think a win over a top 10 heavyweight opponent might just do the trick.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that Olenek was ranked number 10. I kind of forgot about that going into this. But you got to put respect on the guy's name. So yeah, Dacas is going to have at least the number 10. You'd think he'd have the number 10 spot now, moving him ahead of Walt Harris, Junior Dos Santos, Blagoy Ivanov, Sergey Pavlovich, and Tabora.
I would agree he's better than those fighters.
That's pretty cool. So now do you think he's going to look ahead, or do you think he's going to look kind of like a Walt Harris right by him, Junior Dos Santos right under him, or do you think he would look up towards I'm not going to even try to say that name. I'm going to try. Abdurakhimov.
It's an interesting one, this one is, because...
Or Augusto Sakai.
Yeah, Augusto Sakai.
Who did he just lose to?
This is kind of a tough one to really think about because he's in the number 10. I don't think he needs to fight someone below him. I already think he's better than the Walt Harrison and JDS and all those guys. So I don't know if it does much good to really fight one of them. But also above him, there's not a lot to do as well. Maybe besides Shamil and Augusto, just purely based off of rank. Just because you're ranked ahead of him, so he should fight them. Because if you look, it's 7-1. They're all taking. You got Cyril Gane against Rosenstruck, which is going down UFC Vegas 20.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the only other guy he could call out is Overeem, but he's on a suspension.
Overeem's either he's suspended and he's more than likely going to retire. But if he doesn't retire, we already know there's a name that wants to quote clap his cheeks. We'll get to that man in a few minutes. And Volkov. Is Volkov is that too high of a push right now? Is that too much? Too quick?
I mean, I don't know. They fed Greg Hardy to him, so
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is Volkov is kind of he's on a streak right now. That's why he's a high riser right now. I feel like Volkov used to be in the 10 to 12 range not even a year ago,
Yeah.
and then he kind of got on that hot streak.
If he didn't get knocked out by Derek Lewis in the last 20 seconds, he'd
Well,
be.
what's crazy is he was winning that fight.
Oh, he was hands down
Ridiculously
winning that
easily.
fight, hands down.
And Derek Lewis just went full on Black Beast crazy mode and knocked his ass silly.
I
So yeah, I think definitely 8 or 9 is probably the best bet for Dacas right now. Either that or stay active and fight, Walt Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, then you don't really have a lot to lose.
I don't know.
You haven't lost yet.
I don't know if he wants to fight, or I don't want Walt Harris to lose another one. Though is a problem.
I know that's a tough one.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Walt should just stick with like a Blagoy real quick or something like that. Maybe. Oh, it's tough. No, but all in all, Chris Dacas, he's going to be in the top 5 of the heavyweight division within a year from today. Not this calendar year, but he's going to be in it within 12 months. He's going to be within that top 5. I will guarantee that right now for you, Blake. I'll do that.
Wow. He's going to have to beat a Lewis, Rosenstruik, Ngannou, or a Blades.
I think he's going to be able to do that by that time. I really do. At least a Volkov. He'll at least be able to beat the Volkov by that point.
Interesting. We'll see. He's only got 4 spots to clean up, basically.
I'm a fan of him. I am a huge fan of him. I think he's going to do great things in this division. And then at the top of the division, pretty much so, breaking into that top 5 like we were talking about, let's talk about this main event because Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades with one hell of a knockout in this one. Oh my Lord. This was insane. And the whole story leading into this, Blake, was is he going to wrestle? Is Derek Lewis going to get taken down? How's this wrestling? Has it improved since he fought Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight title in the interim between Cormier CP 1 and Cormier CP 2? We remember CP didn't get the immediate title shot after he lost, so he had to deal with that. And we have
so suspect. I don't understand that.
Yeah, no one does. But we don't need to go back to that time. It was a weird time. It was a really slow start to this fight. A really slow start. Not a lot of punches thrown. A heavy filling out process. We had Derek Lewis stepping all 3 of the takedown attempts that Curtis Blades threw at him. And I think the craziest stat, Blake, is Derek Lewis. He threw 23 total strikes in this fight with about 7.5 minutes of work. 23 strikes within about 7.5 minutes. He lands only 7 of those, but he still comes out with the dub in this one, and that's because Derek Lewis, or Curtis Blades, shoots for a takedown, and Lewis just times his uppercut perfectly, and it sounded like a baseball bat hitting a baseball. Blades just goes limp, and then Lewis with a couple of follow-up shots just for the cherry on top. This was one hell of a knockout, one hell of a statement by the greatest heavyweight knockout artist, and now tied for the most knockouts in UFC history. He, with his 12 now, he ties Vitor Belfort for most UFC knockouts of all time.
Super impressive. Yeah, I mean, Curtis Blades, you knew what he was going to do. You knew he wanted to go to his wrestling at some point. Yeah. And it was actually surprising to me how well he was looking in that first round. I mean, he seemed like he was almost dominating the fight, really. And I was actually texting my friend just how off kind of Derek Lewis looked. And it's funny because he even admitted after the fight during his post-fight press conference, he was like, yeah, I mean, I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't get my body going that night.
Because his balls were cold.
Super frustrating. And that's wild to me that he was having an off night. He couldn't get his body going, whatever it was. And he still knocked this dude into the shadow realm. I mean, you could tell.
Isn't that scary?
He probably drilled that same freaking uppercut hundreds, thousands of times during this camp. And I mean, credit to Curtis for even going for a takedown, because that's a scary thought now that we've seen the aftermath of it. But I mean, that's the name of the game. You go for the takedowns, you leave yourself open to those uppercuts, and Derek Lewis capitalized. I mean, that has to be harder than it looks, right? I mean, it's not like he just, I don't know, man.
Well,
It was just
if it was
perfect.
easy, we'd see every fighter land an uppercut like that every time someone dove for a takedown.
Like Habib would have been hit with one of those shots by now if it was that easy.
Exactly.
You
Derek
know?
Lewis is just a freak. He's a freak. I think that's the only way to describe it. I think the funniest part was, of course, Derek Lewis, always great in his post-fight interviews, where he's saying a lot of people thought that those last 2 shots were unnecessary. And people thought it was a late stoppage. I mean, literally, Herb Dean couldn't get there sooner than he did. Okay, so that was a stupid criticism. But you have Derek Lewis hitting the couple extra shots because Curtis Blades could have risen up like the Undertaker, just eating those.
Yeah, no, he's crazy.
And so now, Blake, I already know exactly what I want from Derek Lewis, but we'll talk that first or last. What do you want next for Curtis Blades? And I ask you, is it too soon for a rematch with Volkov, or do we go another route?
I don't know.
Their first fight was back in June of last year.
It's tough for me because Blades is just not a guy that I super enjoy watching unless he has a fight like he did against Overeem where he just kills people. But yeah, I mean, for him, I think it's kind of just a wait and see right now. We got Rosenstruik coming up this weekend.
Rosenstruik and Ghana, baby.
So I mean, there's gonna be a path cleared real soon. It's just once some of these guys, like you got Rosenstruik and Ngannou, and then we got Gane, or I think I always say Gane. It's Gone, right?
Yeah, Serial Gone.
Versus who's he fighting again? He's fighting
Rosenstruik, baby.
Oh shoot, I'm tripping out.
You just said that.
So yeah, those guys are fighting.
Yep.
I was thinking of Francis Ngannou for some reason.
I already got Ngannou and Stipe. Lewis and Blades just fought. So the only other guy, you have Volkov. Overeem still on his little medical suspension.
Yeah, so I mean, really, I think it's kind of just a wait and see. Whoever gets healthy first, probably going to have the contract offers between Volkov, Overeem. I'm sure Overeem doesn't want to fight Blades again. So yeah, it's probably going to be Volkov's fight.
Yeah.
Or one of these up and comers he might have to fight. He might have to fight number 8, number 9, someone that's, free.
I think there's a really easy answer for both these fighters, quite personally. Just real quick to get out of the way, Derek Lewis was saying that he wants to clap Alistair Overeem's cheeks before he retires, and so that might be a possibility. We never know. Let's not count that out. And if that does happen, Lewis will be clapping those cheeks hard. But Blake, here we go. Super easy answer to both these guys' next opponents. Okay, you want to hear it? Super simple. We take Curtis Blades. He fights the loser of Gane Rosenstruik. Derek Lewis fights the winner of Gane Rosenstruik. It's that simple. That's all we got to do with this, right? Is it as easy? Is that? Because I really think it is.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it could be because you already got just John Jones is the only curveball that's thrown in this division.
Well, because
you don't see him on the rankings, but he is number 2 behind Ngannou.
He's 1B at this point. Ngannou's 1A. John Jones is 1B because at least according to all belief, we're having the Stipe in Ngannou rematch. That's going down, and then the belief for everyone is that John Jones is going to fight the winner of that fight, and that's an idea that
who does the loser of that fight then?
Ngannou versus the winner of Lewis and the winner of the loser of that fights the winner of Lewis versus the winner of Gane and Rosenstruik.
It sucks because if Ngannou loses, it's just the same old.
You mean if or when?
If Ngannou always has a puncher's chance, you never know. When he could go. But Deontay
we'll get to
Wilder.
that. We'll get to UFC 260 real soon, real damn soon, of course. In a perfect world, though, it's a fight like this. You have the number 4 guy against the number 2 guy. It's a fight and a big knockout. It's a fight like this where if it wasn't for John Jones, I would say Derek Lewis gets the next title shot. He'll fight the winner of Ngannou and Stipe. I believe that.
I'm pretty sure that's how he got his first one, right? Didn't he get his first one after he knocked out Volkov?
Yeah, knocked out Volkov,
Yeah,
and then
so,
he went
that's usually what happens.
Also, there wasn't really anyone in the heavyweight division at that point besides Stipe, because he was out with the medical suspension, I believe, because of a little finger to the eye. But
DC fought Derek Lewis with like a bad back, still won.
Yeah, also
it's kind of crazy.
Derek Lewis, it's crazy to think that's about a couple years ago, and honestly, I believe we have a totally different Derek Lewis now than what we had back then. Because Derek Lewis, we didn't see him on the ground because his takedown defense was actually really damn good on Saturday night. I was thoroughly impressed by that. I'm always impressed by his striking because it's amazing, but I was even more impressed by his takedown defense. He's really been working on that hard, and it's obvious at this point.
Well, that was the only hole in his game. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you could get that guy to the ground, it was pretty much night. Yeah, but with him being able to stand and keep it, standing and banging, that's just so nice for him. It's great news for him.
Yeah. So obviously this guy, Derek Lewis, has been making some improvements, and that is a scary thought if you're at the top of this heavyweight division. But that's pretty much going to do it for UFC Vegas 19. And now, Blake, one of the things I want to talk to you about before we roll into UFC Vegas 20 and talk about some of our fights to watch out for that one, let's talk about some news coming from Ariel Helwani today with from Monday when he was recording with Daniel Cormier. He was saying that, well, let's go back to the whole Twitter beef. After Kamaru Usman successfully defended his belt against Gilbert Burns, he called for the rematch against Jorge Masvidal. Immediately called for that one. Then about 2 days later, he said, "I'm done being generous. Anyone could get it." It was seemingly ducking Jorge, but I don't think he's actually going to be ducking Jorge. I don't think you really have a reason to duck Jorge Masvidal, quite personally. And so we kind of thought that they moved on from the possibility of that rematch. But now, according to Ariel Helwani, that's the fight that's more than likely going to happen. And he said that he'd be shocked if this isn't the next fight. So, Blake, do you want this rematch? Is this the next fight to make in that welterweight division?
I think for Usman's paychecks, yeah. But is it the fight that really intrigues me the most? It's up there, but I don't think that Masvidal has enough to get it done. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think he's gonna have the answers to be able to stop Usman's game plan.
Even with the full camp, is that going to make a difference?
I don't think a full camp is going to change much.
Is this even a? Now this might not be the rematch we want. Is this even a good fight though? Is this even that competitive of a matchup?
I don't.
Because
I think it'll still be. I think it'll still be competitive. I don't know. It's really hard to tell because I don't know how Usman didn't finish him the first time. Like he just couldn't really get too efficient of offense off on him or too effective of offense off on him.
He couldn't, but even then, I still feel like between that fight and this most recent fight, Gilbert Burns, I saw a totally different striker in that octagon. Going back to what we were saying after that UFC 258 card, it's a whole new Kamaru Usman, and that's right. Because training with Team Elevation, training with the best coach in MMA right now, Trevor Whitman, having Trevor Whitman in his corner for his fights, that has totally transformed his game, and he looks like a totally different animal on the feet. We didn't even get to see him on the ground, so maybe that's improved too, but we already know he's more than dominant and more than capable on the ground.
And he's already proven that he can take it wherever he wants in a matchup against Jorge Masvidal.
Exactly.
Whether it be against the fence and him stomping feet or whether he can get Masvidal to the ground and he can, control from the top. So, yeah, I'm not really too interested in that fight. Colby Covington.
That's a better matchup.
I think that would be a better matchup. But, yeah, it's
not only the better one. It's
muddied water,
the best
right
one,
now.
maybe the only one that welterweight division at this point.
Wonder Boy is on a suspension, and plus he's a weird fighter, so
I still want
he's
to see
not
Wonder
always
Boy
the
versus.
best matchup.
Yeah, my fight. I want to see Wonder Boy against Gilbert Burns. That's my next one. Then even Gilbert Burns may agree, because if you follow us on Twitter at Fourth Long Radio, you could have seen that Gilbert Burns liked my suggestion to one of his tweets saying to fight Wonder Boy next. So hey, if that means anything, we can go off of that. We can go off of fighter liking tweets nowadays, Blake. So I think that's real news, real reporting. And I'm just going to say right now, Gilbert Burns is going to fight Stephen Thompson next, and it's more than confirmed at this point.
Yeah, Ross gets really excited when you like his tweets, if you can't tell.
Hey, it's all about those sick impressions, baby, especially when you got that check bar next to your name. I don't know what you want. Blake, but go follow us. Yeah, do a good job. I don't think this is going to be a good fight. Even before, Jorge Masvidal might have had the advantage on the feet before Kamaru, with the, I'm going to put in quotes, the old Kamaru Usman, the pre-Trevor Whitman Kamaru Usman. He might have had the advantage there. Now, the only place that Masvidal will ever have an advantage is in the stand-up. I don't think he has it anymore. Kamaru Usman is the better stand-up fighter than than Jorge Masvidal at this point. That's why I don't want this rematch. I don't care about this rematch. This rematch doesn't interest me at all, because it's just going to be a totally one-sided affair. And if it's not another 50-45 fight, it's going to be a knockout for Kamaru Usman. But from his perspective, Blake, we all know the ultimate equation when it comes to trying to pick your fights, and that is the easiest fight for the most amount of money. And Jorge Masvidal is the easiest fight for the most amount of money. So if you're Kamaru Usman, you make this happen. If you're the UFC, you make this happen because of the pay-per-view buys, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to be that good of a fight. Now, to kind of sum things up on this one, to wrap things up, let's take a look ahead at UFC Vegas 20. Of course, as we mentioned, it is going to be a fight between the number 3 ranked Jairzinho Rozenstruik against the number 7 ranked Ciryl Gane. And both coming off, actually, the funny thing is, both their last fights have been knockout wins in the second round over Junior Dos Santos. So we've got a little bit of similarities there. But besides, of course, the main event, which clearly sticks out, Blake, do you have some of your must-see fights on this one? Anything else that really gets you excited? Because it's a solid card again.
Yeah, I mean, the co-main's going to be sweet with Onkalev, however you say that name.
Magomed and Nikita
Onkalev.
Krylov. Number 8 against number 11, baby. That's a solid light heavyweight matchup right there.
That's going to be a good one. Also, Jimmy Rivera and Pedro Munoz is on here, so
yes,
that's going to be another really good fight, I think, too.
That's the number 8 and number 9 bantamweight right there. That's a fun one.
We got Cowboy. That's pretty much it for me, though. Honestly, I'd say
Alex
the 3 fights.
Always a fun guy.
My 3 top fights are main event, co-main event, and that bantamweight showdown between Rivera and Munoz.
Hey, we're right there together then.
But I will give a special shout out to Angela Hill, because she always, and Ashley Yoder as well, because they both always throw down.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen a boring fight with those two yet.
And we've already been getting some early smack talk on the Twitterverse too. So hey, maybe get a little Twitter bad blood. That only goes so far. And then
Angela just gets into it all the time, though. I mean, she was getting into it with who was it the other day? It was not Michelle Watterson. Who the hell was it? I was laughing my ass off, though. Her and some girl were going at it online. Damn, I wish I could remember, dude. I'm sorry.
I cannot remember. But it was funny as hell. If you got the names or tweet thread, drop that on with this one, because that was plenty of fun. And now, Blake, one name that you didn't bring up, but one I'm going to bring up for you, is Alex Hernandez. He's in the featured bout on the prelims, or as we like to call it, the main event of the prelims. And I just want to see him get knocked the hell out again, because one of my favorite fights, I think, especially favorite Donald Cerrone fight, was when he was fighting this Alexander Hernandez guy, a guy that was booked to be the next big thing in this lightweight division, and he was acting like a cocky little douche. And then, old man Cowboy Cerrone came in and rocked his mess in a couple rounds and really put him out. So that was one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen personally. So hey, maybe you could lose again and make us all happy.
Hey, to go back though, Tisha Torres.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That
I knew
was.
I could find that real quick because I was on Twitter the other day. So
Why
yeah.
does it feel like if it doesn't happen in the octagon, it's happening on Twitter if in MMA? Hands down, right?
I feel like that's the way they get fights a lot of times. If you get traction, and I feel like that might be another metric that maybe that the UFC might use, is just see how much engagement these back and forths go,
Twitter mentions.
and see who
Yeah.
see which matchups gain the most traction online, and see what makes people tune in.
Hey,
What are people most interested in?
I think I'd be more surprised if they didn't do that already, because that's just
Right?
smart stuff right there. You have to look at what the people want. And obviously, if you could see these actual interactions, and there's
That'd be a sweet job, dude, just to like be on Twitter all day and just be like, Tisha and Angie were arguing, and I think they had a little bit more than Angie and Claudia Gadelha did. So let's make that matchup. Angie and Tisha, let's get it going.
No, imagine, and the person doing that is none other than Dana White himself. He's actually stalking Twitter.
He's too busy chasing streamers.
Well, it's crazy.
Inefficiently, ineffectively.
We got a story for UFC 257. We didn't really hear anything about it for 258. So did they already give up on the whole?
That's what I'm saying.
Thing?
I told you, bro. It was fear tactics. They did it for the Connor card. That's all they were planning on doing the whole time. They got me, but thank goodness my $70 payment didn't go through, and I got to, go to my neighbor's house and watch it for free. Wink, wink.
And thank goodness I didn't even do it in the first place, because I'm a cheap bastard.
You went to your neighbor's house and watched it at your neighbor's place.
No.
Wink, wink.
I didn't even think about buying that pay-per-view, because I was like, either I'm going to watch it or I'm not.
This is the 21st century, brother. We don't got to pay $70 to watch some fights.
Right. I mean, dude, you're going to raise the price to
put some respect on my name.
Technically, Blake, $75, because you had to have the ESPN Plus account to be able to even get the pay-per-view.
I got that. I ain't broke, so I got that.
Well, that's the one thing I actually buy. It's kind of breaking the bank, though. $5 a month is hard to afford, Blake. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's college, dude. I'm trying to ball on the budget.
You got to make it happen.
Hey, and we do make things happen. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it for us this week on our latest edition of UFC Talk. UFC Vegas 19 was a lot of fun. UFC Vegas 20 is looking like a great card, man. And Blake, a couple years ago, the UFC heavyweight division was lacking, and they were lacking kind of hard. But now, with all these young guys being pumped into it, we got the heavy guys at the top, some young guys coming into it now. This is turning to be, and it's kind of making a comeback. The UFC heavyweight division is making a comeback.
A little bit, yeah. It's definitely getting some new players in there. Got some new blood. John Jones coming up makes it even more interesting. So, I mean, there's almost too many options now. It went from a little thin to like, man, who the heck can we match up now? But that's always a good problem to have. It's always good to have too many options rather than not enough, because then you get stale divisions like the women's bantamweight and the women's flyweight and the women's featherweight.
Yeah, right. Can we even say that?
So basically all divisions in the women except for the 115.
Except for the 115, right? That seems to be
freaking fight, Whaley. God.
Well, yeah, we were talking about this before the show. Blaine,
when does she fight next? Seriously,
it has to be Rose. Fight? No, there's no fight scheduled.
Exactly, that's crazy.
Just hurry up, book, Zhang Weili, Rose Namajunas. Call it June. Okay, what is that? That's going to be.
So she gets to take
like UFC 263
she gets to take
or something
15 months off then at that point.
I guessed.
That's crazy. 15 months.
It's ridiculous.
That's wild.
And then hurry up and get Jessica Andrade versus Shevchenko. Just make that happen.
Yeah, that's who isn't she fighting? No, she just beat Chookagian, right?
Yeah, just beat the hell out of Chookagian, like I said she was going to.
And then Chookagian beat up Calvillo.
Yeah. Just do Andrade versus Shevchenko. Just do Namajunas against Zhang Weili. Hell, even have them like Make one card, Jang, and then the card after that, Valentina, call it good, because I need to see some fights. At least we get to see the greatest woman fighter of all
The
time.
thing that sucks
hammer
about the
260.
Valentina fight though is like just the reach. I think she's gonna piece up Jessica pretty bad.
Well, you can say that about almost anyone that Shevchenko's fought.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll see when it happens though. We'll see.
Hey, we'll see if and when we get there. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in until the end. Of course, I've been your host, Ross Allen. This has been our UFC correspondent, Blake Campbell. And keep your fingers crossed that we somehow win this UFC giveaway so we can be there live at UFC 2. Was it they're doing for 259 or 260? I think it's 259.
I thought it was 260. I don't know.
It's one of them. Keep your fingers crossed so we can actually be there so we can get you some crazy insider content, because oh boy, would that be good for the views. And I don't just want to go there for a vacation. It's purely for business. But keep things locked. Check out our interviews, especially the most recent one, one of more recent ones with the training partner of the Iron, Mike Tyson. One hell of a guy right there. That was a fun interview. And keep it locked for UFC Vegas 20. And we will catch you guys in the next one.